Audio Jungle.
Greetings and welcome, ladies and gents. I'm Super Gamer, and welcome to the first episode of Sequel Month. I have decided that every September I'm starting a themed month of reviews. So the first theme for this September is sequels. So I thought, what better way to start Sequel Month than taking a look at one of my favorite PlayStation franchises of all time, Sly 2: Band of Thieves for the PlayStation 2.
Warning, if you have not played the first game, you will not understand the plot of this game, so I highly recommend you watch my review of Sly Cooper and the Devious Raccoonus before you watch this review. With that said, Sly 2 takes place 2 years after Sly 1, where Sly and the gang are heading towards a museum of natural history with no Ben Stiller to be seen, looking for the pieces of clockwork so they can destroy them. Sly is caught by Inspector Fox, who for some reason sounds American, where in the last game she sounded British, with her partner Constable Neela, as they reveal that someone has already stolen the clockwork parts. Neela hints that maybe the infamous Claw Gang is the one responsible for the theft, which gives Sly, Bentley, and Murray a lead to the locations of the clockwork parts to destroy them once and for all. Compared to the first game, this game is a step up both visually and audibly. Sometimes I just stare at these worlds in awe with no intentions of actually doing anything important, just looking at the worlds and how they're designed. The same can be said about the music, which admittedly still isn't anything to write home about, but still fits for this kind of game. Lastly, the voice acting has also somewhat improved from the last game. Now things are a lot more interesting because of the improved voice acting and the fact that cutscenes now have actual movement in them. It makes things a bit more dynamic than last time. This game's gameplay is drastically different from that of the first game. Instead of there being multiple levels in a world, Sly 2 introduces 8 open worlds with several missions to complete. Now every chapter will play out differently, but this is how it usually goes. First, you'll need to take some recon votes to help Bentley plan the heist. Next, you need to collect some key items or get rid of some things that will give the heist some trouble. Finally, the heist itself, where you steal one of the clockwork parts, occasionally with a boss fight with one of the Claw Gang members. Clue bottles also return, with 30 of them hidden in every world. Finding all of them will help you get inside the vault that holds a new power-up. Sadly though, the power-ups in this game are no longer as useful this time around. Although to be fair, the reason why the power-ups in Sly 1 were so useful was because they made up for some of the flaws of the original game. However, I still have my favorites, like the smoke bomb, alarm clock, and paraglider. One of the coolest things that Sly can do in this game is pickpocket his enemies. For every item he collects from a pocket, he can sell them on a website called ThiefNet, where he can purchase new moves and abilities. Speaking of which, Sly's not the only playable character this time around. Bentley and Murray are also fully playable this time around. Bentley specializes in sleep darts and bombs to take out his enemies and can hack terminals with his hacking minigames. Murray is the brawn of the group, capable of taking out any enemy with just a couple of hits, and can lift doors too heavy for Sly and Bentley to lift. There are even some segments where all 3 of you are together kicking butt to save the world. Those segments are awesome. Lastly, there's the boss fights, which sadly is the one thing that Sly 1 does better in my opinion. While those boss fights had patterns and some unique strategies of defeating them, the boss fights here consist of hit the guy until he dies, which is pretty disappointing.
And now it's time for the spoiler section.
Sly and the gang have done a lot in this adventure. They foiled an illegal spice operation, broken out of jail, and even did a good old-fashioned train robbery. In Chapter 7, right when they're about to steal another clockwork piece from John Bazan, who I'd swear is voiced by J.K. Simmons if I didn't know otherwise, knocks the gang out. They wake up to find out all of the clockwork parts they collected have been stolen by the leader of the Claw Gang, Arpeggio. In comes the 8th chapter, Anatomy for Disaster. Sly finds out that Constable Neela was the mastermind behind this whole operation, as Neela betrays Arpeggio, steals the fully assembled clockwork for herself, and titles herself Clockla. With the help of Inspector Fox, they take down Clockla in one giant battle. With Clockla on the ground, Bentley steals the hate chip that fuels Clockla, but ends up losing the ability to use his legs. Yeah. Inspector Fox smashes the hate chip, proving once and for all that Clockwork is officially gone. However, Carmelita still has a job to do and arrests Sly, who agreed to go to jail peacefully in exchange for letting his friends go. But it really doesn't matter anyway because he escapes anyway. Oh, Sly, you devil.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Sly 2, Band of Thieves. And god dang is this game freaking fantastic!
This game is such a step up from the first, it has proven itself to be one of the greatest video game sequels of all time. For that, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Until then, I'm the Super Gamer Ah!